how do you get back into the swing of synths? Sorry, that was a terrible pun. So why am I talking about this now? Basically, over the past few months, I've had a lot of change in my life. I moved, I changed jobs, or rather, I don't know which one came first, but they were pretty much both at the same time. I changed jobs, and then shortly after starting the new job, was laid off because, as you probably have seen in the news, layoffs are the new trendy thing for companies that grow 90% year on year and still get a bunch of investment. But I am lucky. I've been able to find a new job, and then also in the new place, this space became available to set up the studio, because beforehand it was kind of packed up for about 4 months, and now I've unpacked it. I started working on a Vaporwave project that I'll talk about in a minute, and I did that on the Push 2 and Ableton. I've managed to set everything up again. The sound works, and yeah, the MIDI, still an unknown. I mean, all the cables are plugged in, I think, in the right configuration, but you know, with Elektron machines, you have to delve into the settings. It's the only way. So first up, I'll talk about this Vaporwave project. I actually did a video that kind of runs you through the initial ideas, kind of vignettes of the different tracks that I want to make. So with this project, basically, I worked slightly differently. Because I sampled everything into one project, I then decided to start building all the tracks within one project. Normally, on Ableton Live, one project is one track, pretty much. But with this one, I decided to actually do the whole thing in one project, which was new for me. And right now it's mainly in the session view, so the kind of the grid view with the clips and scenes and all of that. And actually, yesterday, I basically opened up the project again after quite a while, probably over a month at least, maybe 2. And just looking at it, looking at the session view, the grid view, I just had this flashback. I was like, oh, is this a spreadsheet? Is this work, or is this music? And yeah, it was a bit of a rude awakening. But it was also kind of tough to kind of get back to, after having stopped, getting back to the stage that the project is at and understanding what the next steps are. It took me quite a while, so I kind of faffed around a bit, playing with sounds, just to get into the mindset. And then in terms of, maybe I spent a couple of hours on it. In terms of the actual productive work that I did on the project, it was pretty small, but it feels good at the end of the day to kind of pick up from where I left off. Now, I want to clear something up. So the past couple of videos, there was a video about the Korg Trident, and then also a video about Minifreak, the Arturia Minifreak. I need to clear something up, which is that this channel is not a one-person operation. There's actually a co-founder who is somewhere else that is also into synths, and that's where those videos come from. The synths that I have are the ones that you see here, plus, hang on, the OP1. So yeah, I just don't want you to think that this is a den full of synths. I mean, there's a decent amount of synths, don't get me wrong, but you're gonna see some synths on this channel which are not mine, and I'm not playing them. But let me just show you, actually, let me get the camera off the tripod and let me just show you the setup here. Let's get this camera a few minutes later. So here we are, laptop, Push 2. Under this mess is an Octatrack modular, which is basically 2 oscillators, 1 filter, a bit of LPG spice. All right, power rack, Roland JV880, wonderful synth. My audio interface, RME Fireface UFX. I've had it since 2012 and it has served me well. It has moved continents and it just keeps on going without complaining. Love it. And analog 4, and you can see that it's all hooked up precariously up there to control the modular, to sequence it, because this doesn't have I don't have a sequencer here. I just wanted basically another synth voice that was kind of super customizable. And then let me show you behind so you can admire my incredible cable management here. As you can see, I dare you to find a better cable management system. I dare you. This is how it's done right here. Cool graphics there on the back of the RME Fireface. We need some more lights. After all, this is a YouTube video. There we go. Now we're in business. So yeah, after risking certain injury to show you the setup a bit more, let's get back to business here. I want to talk about two synths, the Elektron Syntakt and the Arturia Minifreak. Let me tell you what I think of the Syntakt as an analog 4 and octatrack owner. It's exciting to see a new box that really tries to push the boundaries from Elektron, but does it really push the boundaries? It says here, basically, I had a look at the web copy about the Syntakt. I'm sorry, I keep calling it the Syntakt, but it's the Syntakt. It says that basically some of the sound engines come from the analog rhythm and model cycles, so that they're inspired from that. Here's the thing is, as someone who I personally think that the peak Elektron era was when these machines came out, the Mark I Analog 4 and octatrack. That to me is what Elektron is about. I'm old enough to remember when the machine drum and the mono machine came out. But definitely the mono machine, when I saw that, I'm old enough to remember it and to understand its potential and how cool it was at the time. It was super unique, but I'm not old enough to have been able to afford it. So I went for the next generation. Syntakt was an opportunity to bring back all the wonderful sound engines from the machine drum and from the mono machine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the impression that they just took stuff from model cycles and from the written according to their web description. That's pretty disappointing. And also I'm thinking about the Syntakt, and then I believe the Digitone was the kind of the main product that came before it, which is basically like this FM synth groove box. But the name Digitone to me suggests that it should have different digital sound making, sound generating possibilities. And no, I'm not talking about having a bunch of FM algorithms in there. All that counts as one engine or one form of synthesis. And it does it very well, for sure. That's the impression that I get. Super impressive, very cool. But come on, Elektron, it's a Digitone. Infuse it with your heritage. Get back to your roots, the wonderful capabilities that you developed with the mono machine and the machine drum. That should be a firmware update for the Digitone, unless there is a hardware limit in terms of processing power and so on. And same goes for the Syntakt. I mean, I understand the Syntakt has the analog component, and that is cool. They need to expand the capabilities of these machines, because that's what they did with the Analog 4 and with the octatrack to a certain extent. With the Analog 4, when I got it, didn't have polyphony. They then later added polyphony. They did a bunch of updates for the LFOs Overbridge came out, like the stealth feature that just got in there. When I got the Analog 4, didn't have Overbridge. Then suddenly they say, oh, actually, we hid an audio interface in there, by the way, and we're going to build a whole thing around it so that it integrates with your computer. Now, I don't use Overbridge, but that was very cool. And, you know, these machines are expensive, but having paid that much, the updates were a way of paying back the community for their loyalty, and that type of attention I think now needs to be put on the Digitone and also the Syntakt, especially considering that the Syntakt I believe is about $1,000 and the Digitone is maybe about 50 or 100 less. So the fact that the Digitone only has like essentially one sound model or one type of synthesis, it's a bit weak. It's a bit weak, Elektron. While I won't be getting a Digitone or a Syntakt, because I feel I have enough Elektron in my life, I did get the Minifreak V, the plugin. The channel co-founder has the hardware unit, but I have the software VST. It's very cool. And it's funny because it makes me think a lot of the OP1, which I have in the drawer over there. Especially the way that the oscillator parameters are designed. You have 3 kind of macro controls plus a volume knob. That's all you have to, you know, to set your oscillator. But then each oscillator has different sound models. That makes me think a lot of the OP1. Going back to the Syntakt, and even starting with the Digitakt, I think Elektron kind of realized, oh yeah, these teenage engineering guys are onto something with their portrayal of synth parameters. And clearly now Arturia is on that game as well with Minifreak. But I'm just starting to touch the surface of the VST, and it's very cool. I do like what I hear a lot, and just combine that as well also with some of the sequencing capabilities. Can definitely see the hardware unit being very fun. In fact, there's a video on the channel demoing a bunch of the sounds, also with a cameo from my fave vintage computer, the Acorn Archimedes. The Acorn Archimedes. I can't say that. Archimedes. Yeah, there we go. Kind of has a cameo from my favorite retro computer, the Acorn Archimedes. Do check out that video if you want to hear more Minifreak goodness. There will be more coming, I'm sure, both in hardware and software form. That'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching.